You keep entertaining hoes. Guess what? He gonna keep on bringing you some hoes.
So let me just say this to Marcus and Mistaken's point. I believe you're right.
now.
David, mute up.
Okay. Damn, what did I do? Nigga, I got that. But
Mike, I know that was you putting that Marcus in the comments.
What? That was definitely me.
Yeah, that was you.
Somebody was gonna do it. I figured I'd be the first one. All right.
Go ahead.
So no, but to Marcus and the Mistaken's point, I believe. Can I get it out? Can I get my part out first, and then we'll debate who's the bigger simp here? All right. So to their point, I think that's what a majority of people are going through. They're literally looking for gold in a pile of shit, right? So, but I think there's a growing minority of people who are doing it the right way. And the only reason I want to bring this up is because there is a lot of dishonor involved in our society, to where people pretend to go into relationships and pretend to get into commitments in earnest. And then because nobody's holding them to the honor code that people are supposed to have in committed relationships, they're changing their mind, right? So there's a growing number of men who are good men, because I ask all the time on my panels, like, do women leave good men? And some women got to think about it like, yeah, they do. So it's not just a man doing what he's supposed to do and he won't get left. Women are dishonoring their agreements. Some men are dishonoring their agreements. And that's not the majority. I think that's a growing minority.
I think it's the majority, Mike.
But I think it's a growing minority of people who are now just saying, well, nobody's going to come after me if I just decide to leave my good husband for this nigga that they've been banging me out at work. Like, you see what I'm saying? So some people are deciding to make those bad decisions. So I think there's something to be said about that too.
All right. So Mike, about you being a simp, let's discuss it.
Let's do it.
Let's discuss it. Do you have a gang of negative experiences with women?
I do.
Really? Are you currently having a negative experience with women?
No, not currently. Past experiences, yes.
So you've been married for a long time, right?
5 years, not long.
So how fresh is the anger that you could have towards these women?
How fresh?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? My anger is pretty fresh. I've been recently red pilled. So, y'all didn't hear about me before last year. But what it is that when you look at yourself as trying to do the right thing and be a pillar for your community, and then you realize how hard, and the representation, that's really what it is. I do not like the representation brought on by the behaviors of men and women in the community right now. And they're doing it with such a reckless fashion that they don't even care if the children see. That's where my rage comes from.
So do you think it's more beneficial for you to harp on the negative things that the men who are currently dissatisfied with women are harping on, or to speak to the positives that you have going on within your life and what could potentially be achieved if they follow the results that you have?
You know what? Maybe that's a good question. I think mine is the breakdown to build up method, because, and I think that's the African method. There's no way that you get somebody to change without acknowledgement, right? It's funny that, when we get on my panels, you've seen my panels before. The second we start talking about the mistakes of men, everybody's all ears. Everybody wants to pitch in and say their 2 cents. The second we start talking about mistakes of women, this is negative. Let's just move on.
Crazy.
So the reason why we are still on the topic of women and their behavior is because we can't get acknowledgement. And the only reason I want acknowledgement is because when I'm looking at it as like I said, a leader in the community, I'm saying we need to set an example. I was wrong. Ask me as a man what I have done wrong in my life, and you will get an answer, detail on what I've done wrong and how I've contributed to the negative stereotypes and all that the Black community currently suffers from. We can't get that answer we can't get a contrite answer from our sisters. Therefore, the children and the women that come behind them won't learn. So that's where I'm at. I'm stuck.
So the point that you stuck on, I would offer that it's simping for the men who usually call people simps.
I'm simping for men? Oh, that's a you put a dagger.
Oh my goodness. Man, I know that's right. I know that's right.
I would argue.
24 hours of beef, bro. I need time to heal from that one. That was a dagger.
I would argue that your experience, right, in its current state is an ideal situation, right? And being as such, you should not be a quiet outlier when men are discussing all the bullshit of the women that they see. You should be jumping in like, okay, bro, I feel you and I get that experience. I'm not saying that didn't happen. Mm-hmm. This is what I did to get these results. Instead of jumping on the back with them and be like, these women ain't shit.
Okay, serious question. Serious question.
He just wants you to be solution based.
Hold on. No. Y'all just want me to be solution based because y'all don't like hearing about your own goddamn behavior.
I don't listen to you. So I don't know.
There's no reason a gender war general is married.
But Marcus, serious question.
It makes no sense.
Can I do both? Is it possible that I can do both?
That's like me going to Angola to fight against a warring tribe over there. I ain't got no business fighting with them people. Life is good where I'm at. If I got to fight, I need to fight the education system for my kids. Like it baffles me. That's why I call it simping. Now, why do you call what I be doing simping?
I think the classic definition of what you're doing is simple.
How?
Classic. Needs no introduction.
Let's break it down.
I think he wants examples.
Yeah, because
needs no introduction. So here's why you're simping, Marcus. Okay. You do not take into account the real life experiences of men who cannot get the outcomes you get outright. I told your ass last week, don't nobody want to hear it ain't that hard from a 6'8" dude who got women falling his goddamn feet. You're not taking into account the issues of real average men. In fact, what you're doing is actually pretty dismissive to the problems they're actually going through. If we took time to listen, that's why I said most of the time you can play both sides. But on this particular end, you're saying that men don't, well, if men just control their environment, the women would acquiesce. But I'm telling you, practice.
Do you disagree with that? Do you disagree with that?
No, I now disagree with it. Here's why. Can I explain? Mm-hmm. Practice makes habit, Marcus. These ladies have been practicing being uncooperative. They've been practicing being unsubmissive. They've been practicing being independent. They will not turn all of that around for a man that is worthy of getting that commitment and cooperation because they've been practicing the opposite too long. That is what men are experiencing today. And I think
would they turn it around?
Very dismissive of that.
But he just spoke to something that stuck in my head, is that when I had said earlier that a lot of time we blame things outside of ourselves, and that way we take the ownership off of ourselves by putting it on others. What Marcus is saying is, as a man, you control your own environment. So it doesn't matter what the women are doing, because you're going to end up attracting a woman that's going to follow your program based on how you're already moving, based on the environment that you've already created. So when we're in these spaces and we hear a lot of men talking about women are practicing, like what you're saying, being independent, women are practicing this and that. Well, the same goes for them. They're creating an environment in which they have to sit in. So they're going to sit in situations where they're not going to end up getting married to somebody like a Marcus or like you, because your environment is not going to be set up for that to be productive. So they ultimately are controlling their environment as well. Mm-hmm. So putting it on women is saying women need to acquiesce, women need to change, women. And I'm not disagreeing with you. Women do need to make changes. They absolutely do. I'm not taking ownership off of them. But what I'm saying is, as a man complaining about women, you're the one that needs to change your environment, your thought process, and then you attract the women that are going to fall in line with that program that you've already created. So it's not because Marcus is 6'8", or what have you. That's a luxury. That's a plus. But you have regular men who move the same way that he does, who've created the same environment in the same space that he has, and yielding the same results. So it has nothing to do with that. That's just a plus. I'm sorry. It is. It's on us. We have control. I remember my husband told me the problem is, I ain't gonna say just with Christians, but he said Christians, is the fact that we don't look at the God in ourselves. We are always looking at God outside of ourselves, praying to someone outside of ourselves, as opposed to looking to the God that's within and making the necessary adjustments and changes for the environment that we create. And it's true.